Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live, talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynn@pghcitypaper.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Hello. Welcome to yet another show, February 5th, 2020. I did not do my duty last night. I couldn't. I watched right up until they announced him and he started walking in the door, and I literally could not. I went to bed. When I woke up really early this morning, I thought, what the heck am I waking up so early? And then I realized, because you went to bed at 9 o'clock. I mean, anything to avoid that. When you know essentially what's going to happen, I don't see what the point is. Obviously, this morning, because I woke up so early, I had more than ample opportunity to catch up on anything I might have missed, and boy, did I make the right decision. That's all I can say. Jesus. Where to start? The President of the United States will be acquitted in his impeachment trial later today. The State of the Union address was outrageous. The Iowa caucuses were outrageous, but yielded some interesting results, I guess. And what else? God almighty. Let me start with a tweet. This tweet made me smile, and smiles are something wondrous in this time. And people behaving like, regular people, something wonderful. This tweet came from a football player, a Pittsburgh Steeler, in fact. And it's hard not to like this guy. He was responding to a tweet from somebody else yesterday afternoon who had gone into a laundromat in Pittsburgh and seen him doing his laundry in the laundromat and tweeted something to the effect, "What the heck? JuJu Smith-Schuster is in the laundromat." And he tweeted back, "So just because I'm in the NFL, I can't use a laundromat?" Hard not to like that for a number of reasons. Another bright spot, and I'm just this is in my efforts to keep you apprised of things you can do to ameliorate the anxiety and pain so many of us are feeling these days. And one of the things you can do in this city, thank God, is to enjoy true art, unlike the halftime show. True art, true genius, music, wondrous stuff. And we are so lucky to have so many venues for that. And I'm just going to be cluing you into just one venue over the next month or so, and that is the August Wilson Center, which is, to my mind, an under-recognized gem. I had told you about Eric Dyson being there, Dyson, excuse me, earlier this week. And I want to flag this for you, especially for you jazz lovers. There will be an extraordinary, charismatic, acclaimed musician appearing at the August Wilson Center a week from Saturday. So you got plenty of time to get it together. He's comes up on top in readers' polls of all the jazz aficionado magazines, Downbeat, Jazz Times, also noted by the Village Voice, Rolling Stone, and I'm talking about Joshua Redman. So, incredible musician. And he's coming to the August Wilson Center Saturday night, the 15th of February, 8 p.m. concert. If you're a lover of jazz, lover of music, if you want distraction that lifts your soul, then this is a possibility, right? So just wanting to tell you that. August Wilson Center, the 15th. There's stuff going on there all the time, guys. All the time. Okay. I've been told that Billy Porter, speaking of art, Billy Porter gave his own State of the Union address last night, and I did not see it yet, but I will make a point of seeing it. I've been told that it was far more worth your time than the one that was televised by all the news stations. I'm going to stick with some of the stuff that you've sent me today and also with some tweets. Jonathan wrote this. I know everything is a shit show, especially in politics, but in my quest to find something positive, here goes. An openly gay man with a husband will finish at or near the top of the Iowa caucus. Iowa, not New York, not some liberal blue state, America's heartland. I just want to add, but it was only Democrats in that not blue state that were voting. So it was the blue people in the red state that were voting, just to add a depressing element of truth to it. But that was a shocker, and even more of a shocker was Biden coming in fourth. Granted, we don't have the final results, but interesting stuff, and certainly Buttigieg would be a winner, without a doubt, with that showing, and Biden would be a loser by any account. And Jonathan goes on, by the way, I did not watch Trump last night. Fine minds think alike. Couldn't put myself through it. Instead, I watched a movie I've always wanted to see, The Apartment. It's a fantastic movie. Yes, and he says, I made the right choice. What a movie. That, if you've never seen it, is a wondrous movie, probably from the 60s, 70s. It was Shirley MacLaine and Jack Lemmon. And it's wonderful, simply wonderful. Good, yeah, it was a good choice, a good choice. Oh, I don't know. I'm trying not to share my total pessimism with you because it is my makeup, and it's not always the correct response and or reaction or perspective. It sometimes is, but pessimism tends to, yes, depress, And depression leads to inactivity. And if anything, we need to maintain a vigilance and a sense that we have got to be very active if we're going to save this country. Roger writes, I intentionally did not watch the State of the... Did anyone watch it? I intentionally did not watch the State of the Union. My wife has a stronger constitution, but couldn't make it past Rush getting the medal. Oh, my God. In that regard, Rush getting the medal, somebody tweeted out this little memory from February of 1993. It's a ways back. And it's just a little clip of Rush Limbaugh's show on that day in 1993. And here is what he said. Socks is the White House cat. This is during Bill Clinton's term. Socks is the White House cat. But did you know there is also a White House dog? And he held up a picture of 13-year-old Chelsea Clinton. That is a man that our pussy-grabbing president honored with the Medal of Freedom last night. And obviously there are many other quotes that are just as noxious, but it's hard to beat. It's hard to beat beating up on a 13-year-old child for her looks, for laughs. But then again, this is the president who famously, before he was president, before the American people saw fit to elevate him, who, for laughs, made fun of a reporter who was disabled. All right, I'm sorry, I diverged from Roger. So Roger's wife made it up to Rush getting the medal, and Roger reports that his wife then came in the bedroom and told me about it. So I did not sleep last night, he said. My wife said that Trump read the room well, as he usually does, and figuratively squeezed the Democrats' balls and boobs and enjoyed every second of it. By the way, should we be sending emails to your Yahoo or City Paper account? City Paper. That's what I've got up. Lynn at pghcitypaper.com is the email you should use if you want me to see it while I'm doing the show. You know what word came to my head just then? And the reason I paused is I had to swat it away. And I thought, where did that come from? And in my head it was, and if you want me to see your email while I'm doing the show, the word that came to my head that I batted away was the British word whilst. Whilst. Isn't that how it's pronounced? Instead of while, they'll say whilst. They put a W-H-I-L-S-T. Where'd that come from? I'm just asking. Just asking. Okay. Also, and this is not going to go so well, but again, it's an effort to keep us from too much despair. Keep me from too much despair. Was it 2 days ago that one of our callers, Jonathan, told us, what was that call about? I'm trying to remember. He called about that Jewish thing. And he mentioned the story about his mom and him seeing the Pope Paul VI, and how the Pope recognized her as a Jew and called her a Jewess. And we talked a bit about his mom, who had gone back to Italy with her then 9-year-old son because she had served there in World War II in the armed forces. And he had many, many, many years ago on Veterans Day sent me a letter that his mother, during the war, as the war was nearing an end, had written to her mom back here in Pittsburgh. And I had read it then on the show, but and I'm going to read it again because he resent it to me. But the problem is it's in a form that comes up large on my thing, so I'm going to have to be scrolling back and forth, so my rendition ain't going to be that good. But having seen it again, I've got to share this with you again. It is to Mrs. Alice Rubin on Collins Avenue in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And it is from Sergeant Shirley Kolker, obviously Jonathan's mom. And it was stamped by the censors as all mail coming out of the theater of war had to be. And let me read this to you. She writes, "Dearest Mother," and I guess because of the censors, she was unable to tell her mom where she was, but she simply has in the upper right corner these words: "Somewhere in Italy." Dearest Mother, August 15th, another historically important day, and I cannot help but think of the blood, sweat, and tears involved. Now, I'm not sure what she's referring to with August 15th, but something must have happened. This would be 1944, right? Oh, this is what she wrote on, VJ Day. Excuse me. I just saw this. Okay, so the war in the Pacific has been won. So it's VJ Day, and this armed services member, where the war has not ended, somewhere in Italy, is writing her mom here in Pittsburgh. I cannot but think of the blood, sweat, and tears involved, that somewhere today boys, our boys, German boys, British boys, young and old, are lying dead or brutally wounded, forever scarred, crippled, blinded. And in some future time, a child in a classroom will be disinterestedly learning dates, like August 15th, knowing only the surface, being bored, knowing nothing of the agony of wandering women and tortured men. But we must teach them differently, Mother. We must tell our children in such a way that they will despise war, so that they will never have to learn it firsthand, never permit it to occur again. Strange that this new victory, so high in the cost of death, brings us all close to life once more. The normal things, loving families and familiar scenes, affection, warmth. But it is not tender on the field of battle. Only blood is warm on a battlefield. And when it cakes and dries, it leaves only the frozen stiffness of death. In the joy of peace and victory just around the corner, my soul quivers at the ugly, miserable price of it. And in the midst of my mind, remembering the sweet thing of home, I cannot help but think of those who will never see home again. I know that everywhere men are sick, they are lonely and miserable and tortured. The price is very high for freedom and peace. In just a little while, people will forget the life sacrifices, and war, viewed at a distance, will once more seem a thing of glamour. That too must stop. People should know its truth and never ever forget it. It is not pretty. There is not one phase of it that is pretty. Even the ideals for which we fight are tarnished and worn. The tears of mankind wears them thin. I wonder if in the calm that goes before this storm, there will be love and brotherhood and unselfishness. When these things replace greed and hate and jealousy, then perhaps there will be salvation for man. When we are together again and rejoicing in the dearness and sweetness of reunion, when we are happy once more in our togetherness, let's not forget. Let's temper our joys, our security, with remembrance. These men have known hell while on earth, and some will never know else but hell. Living armless, legless, scarred. Some will never see earth again, for they will lie under it for all time. My prayers today are in thankfulness that my dear ones at home have been spared the knowledge of bombings and terror firsthand, and that they are alive and well. And I ask God to bless our boys, watch over them, keep them safe, and thank Him that I am a whack. To me, that is a blessing. Pray with us and for them, dearest family. Your loving Shirley. Wow. Wow. My page on City Paper is not opening. Lynn, in regard to the State of the Union address, says, I intended to watch, as I always have. I've always have too. But when Trump entered to a chant of 4 more years, that was more than I could stand. Yeah, it was just like it was like one of his rallies, slightly more contained. Okay, so there's all this, he did not shake Pelosi's hand when he handed her the speech, which may account for her, in part, ripping it up at the end. for all of those who have expressed absolute outrage that she ripped his speech up, I just want to give you this tweet that I saw, and I thought summed it up pretty well. Okay, it's to all the people who are just stunned that she would behave in such a manner. Max von Essen writes to those people, alert me when Speaker Pelosi sexually assaults someone, or mocks the disabled, or tears a child from their parents, pays off a porn star maybe, or insults a Gold Star family. How about it when Nancy Pelosi calls Nazis fine people, or denies science, or steals from a charity, or starts a fake university? Until then, take a seat. We have a caller? Not gone? Okay. Selective outrage. And one more tweet that I liked. And I think this guy's right. This is Obama, former Obama aide, John Favreau, I think is how it's pronounced. He said, seems to me like Pelosi took a page out of Trump's playbook by doing it and stole the spotlight. No one's talking about his speech now. They're talking about Nancy. And in fact, even if it's outrage, that's his playbook. I want them to talk about me. I don't care why they're talking about me. I'm the center of the world. And he knows that she plays him better than anybody. And this guy's right about that. Because apparently, I've seen other things, not that I've seen the tweets, Trump is going crazy about it. Debbie writes, I wanted to know what you thought of Nancy Pelosi tearing up the speech. Well, okay, I just pretty much said it. I watched and I loved it. How else can she show our displeasure? I don't agree with this attitude of not watching Trump. This is the Fox News mindset. They did not play the impeachment hearings in prime time. Fox News people won't listen to the Democrats, and not hearing what they put out is the same. Not hearing what they put out is the same. CNN interviewed Iowa Mayor Pete voter. Oh, I think I heard about this. They interviewed a person in Iowa who had voted for Pete in the caucus. She didn't know he was gay. When the reporter told her he was married, she wanted to take her vote back. She said, I don't want someone like that in the White House. Debbie says, your thoughts. Well, I'll tell you what my thoughts are. That woman is representative of millions, I would imagine, of Americans who, if they didn't know he was gay, would be extremely impressed by him and think he was wonderful. But their religion or their own whatever, I don't know, heterosexual squeamishness or whatever, will prevent them from electing a man with a husband. It's just too much for their heads to handle. So, like Barack Obama, when Democrats ran with him, we had to know we were probably going to be giving up votes of people who, if he weren't black or didn't have the name Barack Hussein Obama, whatever that was, might vote for a guy who sounded like him, said what he said, but just couldn't go that way. And I mean, this is what Democrats do because we're a diverse party. we put up people who are not. Look, who came in 1 and 2 in Iowa? An old Jew and a gay guy who's married. These are not people that would be Republicans. And I don't know. Democrats start with this handicap of embracing people that others are repelled by or afraid of or whatever. Democrats also start with the handicap of the Electoral College. And I don't know, some would say, do we need to handicap ourselves anymore? I don't know. But Barack Obama did okay last time I looked.
Hello.
Ryan, are you okay?
I got a little cold.
I know.
Under the weather, so I'll be okay.
I so don't want to get sick.
Yeah, I'll be over here in my
All
little
right,
corner.
go off. Yeah, we'll move the camera for you.
Got coronavirus. Oh no. I'm just
You
kidding.
look sick.
I just feel I feel okay.
You're not supposed to come to work when you're sick. All you're doing, even though you're smiling, is infecting all those people out there.
It's just a little cold.
You should be wearing a mask.
I should be, yeah. If that does anything. I'm still up in the air if that does anything or not.
Oh, God. Can I just finish up my email?
Yeah.
Did you watch the State of the Union?
A little bit, yeah.
Are you kidding?
I only tuned in for literally the exact moment when he said sanctuary. It was amazing.
I don't know that he said that. He said...
Oh, he definitely said it. I heard it. And then I saw it on Twitter everywhere. There's a video of it. He said sanctuary cities or sanctuary because he's like a senile old guy who can't pronounce words.
Maybe he meant it.
Oh, new nickname for it. Sanctuary cities.
Yeah, that's right. And they'll pick up on that. Here's an email that I hadn't read yet. Paul writes, I almost spit out my soda last night when Trump was criticizing sanctuary cities. Hell knows he may have intended to use the word instead. Yeah.
Who even knows? Who knows?
Yeah, right. Who knows? Also, oh God, you missed Rush getting the medal of?
Yeah. I was trying to stay away, and then I was watching just like 22 The Point, and the like 10 o'clock news came on, which I try to avoid TV news as well, especially local TV news. And so I flipped over to it just to see what he was talking about, and like right when it came on, he's like, sanctuary, and I just like I lost it. It was great. But yeah, I missed the Medal of Freedom to one of the most vile, bigot, racist that exist in our country. So.
Yes, but delivered and granted to him by
Melania.
vile,
right.
racist,
right,
bigot
president.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, that's Melania had a lot of trouble doing the clasp.
Oh, she did.
It took forever. It was like getting like, oh, right already. Come on, babe. No one's asking you to do much of anything. Maybe her fingernails or something.
Yeah, maybe she's lost her modeling skills because models are supposed to be good at that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Presenting things, and I'm being serious too. I think they are.
Okay, Norma says this. I'm really discouraged by all the doom and gloom surrounding the Democratic Party after Monday night's fiasco in Iowa. What does this have to do with Democrats' chances in November? Nothing. I really
believe. It's a media narrative.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I really believe in the power of positive thinking. Oh, Norma, what do you listen to this show for? Jeez, that's weird. That is really weird. Wow. God bless you.
Yeah.
I really believe in the power of positive thinking, and my wish is that everyone listening will vow to work hard to support the nominee of their choice without going negative on anyone else's choice.
Yeah, well, it's not going to happen.
It ain't going to happen.
It's called an election. You have to go negative.
See, the problem is when a primary is held, there are different factions in parties. Well, in the Democratic Party, the Republican Party.
Right. Right. Well, especially with Trump.
Right. I mean, that's just.
But I mean,
that
even
all
in
there
other,
is to
even
it.
in other, yeah.
So you go after,
Go after each other. It's an election.
And ideally, you come back together. But in this day and age, when people are so quick to take offense
Right.
and not forgive,
Right.
the cancel culture and all that
Right.
kind of stuff, primaries might be a real bad thing for the party out of power to be going through.
I don't think so, though.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
I think everyone's going to come together. I think there's just like the primary is too long, and it's driven by media narratives that are meant to make it more entertaining, basically,
That
in
is
that
correct.
way. And so when it comes down to the one-on-one, I mean, my gut tells me is that it's going to be just so vastly different than what we've seen for the last year. We've had a primary for over a year. You know, it's so long. It's crazy.
we're already exhausted.
Oh, we're all so tired, and like, but at the same time, we're also like, give me the results now.
Yeah, I know. It was like such an offense that the results were not, and I'm thinking.
Because it drives the media narratives, which I understand
yeah,
that's frustrating,
yeah.
but at the same time, then just don't give into it.
Yeah, right. So who gives a shit if we wait 24 hours for some numbers?
Right.
And here's the thing. I think, and I'm hardly alone, that the safest way to hold an election is like you did it in 1840.
Right. On
Paper,
Right.
ballots.
Yeah.
And that then would mean we'd have to wait
Right.
a little
You have to
bit.
wait longer. It's like with the Arizona Senate race in 2018, where when all of the voting machine results came in, the Republican McSally was ahead, and then as we counted all the rest of the remaining ballots, which were because they have early voting there. Samina pulled ahead, and the Democrat won. And it's like, but it took like 3 days or something like that. It's not that big of a deal because we have lame duck periods. So it's not like we don't need to know right away because they're not kicked out of office right away, right? And so, yeah, I really wish people would just calm down, We're going to get all the Iowa numbers. They're going to be before New Hampshire primary.
I mean, my bet is that Bernie will pull ahead.
I think so, too.
But still, it's a clear victory for Buttigieg and a clear defeat for Biden.
Absolutely.
And his
I think that's
mantra of electability.
Right. That's the
Because
biggest story.
that's
I mean,
the story.
even with the partial numbers, to have Biden so low in those metrics. And I think the Bernie team, the Bernie team is too online. That really hurts them sometimes. And they should have just been declaring victory because he did. Even with the 62%, he has the popular vote, right?
Well, listen,
so
Democrats are good at getting popular votes and still not
Right.
gaining elections. So, I mean, you got to go with whatever no, he still loses if he
Right.
doesn't
No, but I mean,
get
in the way of the messaging.
delegates.
In the way of
No,
messaging. That's all that matters,
Okay,
right?
right.
It's easy to spin things and message things. Just do it,
So I want you do know about Pelosi tearing up.
Of course, yeah, I saw that.
Okay, so I mentioned that she's brilliant at playing him.
Right.
Because she knows that an outrageous action
Right.
gets everyone's attention.
Oh, it's so good.
And so no one's talking about him. They're talking about her.
No one's talking
And-
about school choice, right? That was one of the things he brought up, School choice, it's a popular Republican talking point.
What, for destroying public schools?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah,
So-
Terzai is really big on it. and
Yeah.
things like
So I said that I'd heard that she really gets into it. She knows how to get into his head more than anybody else. And she knew that doing that would, and get into Republicans' heads too. Fox News is going ballistic.
Right.
Brains are exploding all over the
Right,
place
right.
because you know how quickly offended they are by a lack of decorum.
that. Right.
Right.
Giving the
And by not
presidential medal of
following the
freedom to a
rules.
racist.
Right. Whatever. Anyway.
The rules.
So this just came in. Trump has now tweeted or retweeted more about Pelosi's reaction to his speech than about the content of his own speech.
Right.
4
She's
times
getting
more.
smart.
She
She
is
gets
one.
it.
Boy, she's a smart cook.
She does understand it pretty well, I think.
Why
given-
don't others get it?
Not everyone is as good, I guess, and understanding this kind of stuff. And like, it's funny because Pelosi can really toe a line where she can like support him on some things, right? Because they're like, she could have like blocked his budget bill. She could have like done more things, right? But she does it in this way that like he just feeds into, you know? And it also distracts some of the more less engaged voters from really the like bigger things, and it just becomes this like circus, and she turns everything into a circus. And it's definitely smart in this aspect because the State of the Union was such a campaign speech basically, but it was like more civilized because he doesn't write it and he doesn't ad lib really, and it's become that so much. And maybe it's always been that, but if he's going to use it that way, you might as well fight back.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
And in a similar manner.
So did you hear about this artist in Germany? I think you'll like this.
Okay.
His name is Simon Weckert.
Okay.
He got 99 cell phones.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just a little tired. Drinking tea today instead of coffee, which I think is a mistake.
All right. 99 cell phones. And he had a guy put them all in a wagon and just walk with the wagon down the street.
Okay.
Google Maps went berserk and kept saying that the street was, that there were huge road traffic jams.
So he like turned on Waze basically, and
yeah,
and or whatever app they have over in Germany.
Well, they have all these. They have
Right.
I think it was Google Maps.
Right.
He calls it Google Maps hacks.
Right. And he causes traffic jams, fake traffic
And
jams.
he meant it as performance art.
Oh my God, I do love this. This is fucking brilliant. Like, this is the coolest thing in the world.
Meant to demonstrate the pervasive real-life influence of modern technology on these. So anyway, yeah, he says Google Maps, Apple Maps, Waze have done. So people now do try to game the system. It says here that what's happened, because people are looking at those Google Maps and they see that, the street turned red, which is like what?
Well, Google Maps does it automatically.
Google Maps does it, and he was screwing everything. There was no traffic. None. The guy's walking down the center of the street. There is nothing.
Right, but because he has all the phones,
all those
it's
cell
like it's a big traffic jam.
They think there's 99 cars.
That is awesome.
Yeah, okay. So it says here that, and I hadn't thought of this, that what Google Maps then does when they perceive that whether it's true or not, they direct traffic
to other streets.
Onto streets that were not intended to.
This is a big problem in Los Angeles.
Carry, yes. So here, this comes from, I think, this is Maryland. But in trying to help drivers get around faster.
Right. The only goal of America, by the way.
That's right. Quiet residential streets get turned into these cut-through routes.
Yep.
And they also, it says here, may have made overall traffic worse.
Definitely.
Because they are burdening some routes with congestion they were not built to support.
Absolutely. Yep, that's what happens.
Okay.
That's because of the technology that they have to like navigate people around traffic. Like, we design roads for a certain amount of traffic,
Yeah.
And in places that are really sprawled out, too.
Yeah.
This is a huge problem. Like Los Angeles, Maryland, well, most places except Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is kind of unique in the way that there are only so many routes to get from one place to the other.
That's right.
You have to take
and
Route
some
51.
Routes are
you have to take.
Yeah. And some routes are like, I'm sorry, the only other route is this like tiny little street.
Right.
By the way, don't get me into my biggest pet peeve of a pedestrian.
Yeah.
Of cars parking on the sidewalk.
Oh, it's the worst.
In streets where they don't. I understand some where you're trying to take a little bit of this. Okay, I get that. But there are streets around in my neighborhood that there is no reason.
Right.
There is plenty. Why do they do that?
It's just car culture because it really just comes down to what's more important in our society?
Me.
Parking your car
Me,
or
me,
walking
and my
on the
car.
sidewalk,
Yeah,
right?
No,
What's more important?
Yeah, me in my car.
Parking your car, exactly. It's
No,
not even me in my car.
Obviously, it's people who
me
don't
in my car.
It's
not
people
even
who
me.
don't use sidewalks. I mean,
Definitely.
anyone who walks would never park blocking an entire
No.
sidewalk.
Well, I mean, in my, I like, this might might get some hate mail for this, but it's like parking chairs. This is the dumbest thing in the world. I mean, we're in a city. You don't get your own spot.
Yeah, you don't own that.
Because that's really bad, because the whole idea is that you want turnover in spots and you want to be able to like find, because there's a limited amount of space. And so the more idea that's like, nope, that's mine, then you just have
it
to.
Ain't.
If that is your number one priority, you should probably move to a place where you have a driveway,
Move to suburbia.
Yeah, which is fine, but also it's just like you need to understand the systems that it creates. And like, yeah, this is so cool, by the way, though. This is so great.
Okay, when they talk here that like some of these people who live on residential streets in this country who all of a sudden have traffic. I mean, all of a sudden, because they become an alternate route, according to Google, have been trying. It says that a guy in Tacoma Park, Maryland, got so angry about it that in a guerrilla counterattack, he hopped onto Waze, which is another one of these traffic apps, every day at rush hour, making false reports of wrecks and speed traps to try to keep people away.
So that he could have his own secret.
So
route?
He lives on the street.
Oh, okay.
He
got some.
cars
Oh, I see.
off.
He's protesting.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And Waze, of course, kicked him off.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man. It's just so emblematic of these tech companies like Google and Apple and Waze that they do never ever think about the real human implications of their technology.
Never.
And they don't think about what kind of streets are supposed to have certain amount of traffic versus ones that aren't. And they're just like, well, this will improve convenience. And it's like, that's their only idea, but it ends up not improving convenience, because you get all these
inconveniences others.
Right.
It's a jungle out there, and it's everyone for themselves. But listen to what the artist in Germany said.
Yeah.
He got the idea after going to a May Day demonstration in Berlin.
Oh, cool.
And noticing,
he
noticed that Google Maps portrayed the gathering of people as a traffic jam.
Wow.
Yeah. He decided to replicate the anomaly himself, borrowing 99 phones. 99 because of the Jay-Z song.
Oh, yeah, 99 Problems.
Is that it?
Yeah,
Okay.
It's got an offensive lyric in it. I won't say it.
It's basically 99 problems for Uber,
right.
Or let's say 99 problems for technology services. So he had some guy wander the streets of Berlin with the wagon of 99 smartphones piled inside, and as he made his way down a given street, according to a video that the artist then shared on his website, it would go from green to orange to red on Google Maps, all the while the streets were empty.
Oh, that's so brilliant. We should just do that so that I can have like a nice bike route to work.
Yeah.
I feel safe. I don't feel like I'm going to get killed.
Unfortunately, a spokesman for Google said, "We appreciate seeing creative uses of Google Maps like this it helps us make maps work better over time."
Cool. Let's just keep doing it then. We should just I would definitely give up my phone for a clear route on the street. No doubt about it.
All right, so there you have that. I thought you'd like, I always like looking for stuff that will.
I do like that a lot.
You will enjoy. So there it is. Oh,
that's great.
God. So wait, go away, get off! I'm trying to get back to my mail. I hate.
Wait, isn't it the tab?
What?
Isn't the tab?
What?
The tab?
Don't touch my. What tab? What is point here?
I just did point.
Ah! Don't touch it. Here?
No, right there.
Yeah.
Okay. Figured it out.
Younger person trying to tell an older person.
You got 99 problems.
How to use their computer. It's pathetic, huh?
It's like a cliche.
Yeah. It is a cliche, but it's a cliche that is true.
Often true.
Oh, somebody has a picture of Donald Trump and they've superimposed Nancy Pelosi in a recliner sitting in his head. Yeah.
Love it. He's in it. Yeah. That's good.
Oh, okay. So
What else you got?
nothing. What do you got? You were hot and bothered about something that totally did not interest me, but go for it.
Oh. I don't.
No?
Wow, that's so many things, Lynn. I mean, there's so many things that I'm hot and bothered about. I've been pretty mad about the fracking. I've been pretty mad about fracking. That's been my thing the last few.
Well, a big
weeks.
applause line in the speech apparently was when Donald Trump said that the United States is now the largest producer of natural gas
Right.
in the world.
Right. Well, apparently not that many other
Like he
countries
invented
produce.
fracking.
Not that many other countries really do it. Apparently, like Saudi Arabia has like a huge, or like UAE has a huge natural gas reserve, but they just don't. They don't touch it because the oil is more profitable for them. You know. So if that changes, then they could see competition, and then that would affect our industry. But it's just one of these things that I've like really been thinking about in Pennsylvania a lot. Fracking's only been around 10 years in Pennsylvania. Apparently this is true. I'm trying to look at a story about it. In the state house chambers, there's on the ceilings in Harrisburg, there's a lot of Pennsylvania stuff, you know, liberty and freedom and the Constitution and all that, you know, Pennsylvania history. One of the things, I don't know when it was changed or created, is natural gas in the state house chambers, like immortalized in our state capitol.
So that was a long time ago that was put up.
It couldn't be because it's only been. I'm wondering when they did it. I don't know. I have to look.
Who told you that?
Well, no, I saw state rep tweet it out, Sarah Innamorato. So I'm looking in to see exactly when it was installed, and I'm assuming it was probably like a bill or something like a few years ago or something. But I don't know. I have to look at it. But anyway, my point is to say that this industry has such a stranglehold on our politics, and it's remarkable how quickly it happened. You know, it's insane. Can you imagine coming in 10 years?
Yeah, but the people who did that had already done it in other states and had a game plan, and they're big players in terms of knowing how
look at what's happened in other
get
states.
Governments to do what they want.
But that's just what I want listeners and voters to understand, is that when people say stuff like it's so bad to have a fracking ban or stuff like that, understand that we have just been manipulated by this industry for the last like 10 years. And now we think that it's like, no, it has to be here. It has to stay. We didn't have it 10 years ago. We can't imagine what like our state was like 10 years ago. It's remarkable. It's remarkable the power that they've had. And there was a new fracking poll that came out that said voters are so confused about it. You know, some like 49% said they support a ban and 38% said they don't support a ban. But then 48% said they support natural gas drilling, and 44% said they don't support natural gas drilling. I think it's people just don't know about it. And that's why I get mad. People like Trump, Peduto, Fitzgerald, all of them just put out these blanket statements that are lacking the nuance to actually explain what this industry is and what it does to our area. And, you know, I think journalists have really fucked up, honestly, and we just repeated their talking points for the last like 7-8 years, and now it's like locked in.
You're right in that, you know, when I first heard about fracking, yeah, it was not that. I never heard that word.
Right.
What's that?
Yeah.
And we all sort of got educated little by little, but yeah, we did it by reading the paper or seeing. Right.
Yeah, and I think that we talk about media narratives, right? Like, I think the media narrative that has dominated fracking for the last 10 years, ever since it's been in Pennsylvania, is one that isn't truthful. It's not fully truthful, basically.
Well, it's propaganda.
Right. And like, but we don't see it as that, because we just go, oh, well, Fitzgerald said it. Who cares what Fitzgerald thinks? Sorry, he's not a genius. He doesn't know everything about our region. He's just repeating the talking points of this industry, you know?
You know, these industries teach us all things. Like when I heard there was a cracker plant that was going to be frack. crack.
Yeah, baby.
And I mean, it's all fracking and cracking. And I thought a cracker plant. Why is everybody getting so excited about that? I mean, we
buttery
just
crackers.
closed the Nabisco plant. And now it's full of Google nerds and right. So
I just think it's just one of those things that like we have started to like apply, like we apply more skepticism to like maybe Republicans than we used to because they lie all the time, and Donald Trump and other people like that. But we need that same amount of skepticism, healthy skepticism, not like conspiracy theory skepticism of everything. And I think fracking is one of the biggest things on that. And so when I hear Connor Lamb or Joe Biden or Trump or whomever say a fracking ban would be terrible for Pennsylvania, I don't believe them. I don't believe they know actually what they're talking about. And so we need to read more. I need to write more like articles about exactly what's happening with this industry, and we haven't, and we failed. And like it makes me really sad.
It's a little late.
It's not. It's only 10 years. It's only been here 10 years.
Yeah, but
could you imagine if steel just came in 10 years? Like steel, right? That's you want to talk about a legacy industry, steel and coal, right? Those are like hundreds of years in our area, and they still have some power, right? But fracking, they had nothing compared to fracking now. They're like little wusses, Like fracking can come in, basically just say a talking point, and Turzai, Fitzgerald, or the governor will be like, "Yep, got to do that." It's insane. Like, aren't our politicians supposed to be arbiters of this stuff? Are they not just supposed to be like, oh, well, GM says they're going to do this, so let's just do it, Like, and then they give them subsidies and stuff. It's socialism. It's just like, it's all these things. It is. They just passed a bill, the State House just passed a bill to create another $800 million in subsidies to attract future cracker plants in the area. And I'm almost guaranteed that Wolf's going to sign it. And so we want to talk about socialism. We want to talk about all these things. It's just like that.
Corporate socialism. We like that.
I guess I just hate hearing it because I hear so many pundits about Pittsburgh and Pennsylvania, and they all say like, oh, you can't elect someone who's an open socialist because that's going to play off. Yeah, because we fucked up telling them exactly what these things are. Because we've repeated propaganda about socialism, and so it does really rile me up because journalists are supposed to be the arbiters of truth, right? We're supposed to like get to things in a more nuanced level, and like we don't. We just repeat these things, and then they become quote unquote facts. And so you ask some neighbor in Moon Township, and they're like, oh well, yeah, fracking, because I heard Fitzgerald say on Marty. I heard him say that it's really important, and then it's like, oh, but you literally know nothing. You don't know anything except from what you heard from a politician, and we take that as fact, and it's just not the case.
Here's the real unsettling truth is most people don't care.
Right.
Okay? They don't give a damn.
Right. But they can be swayed, and that's the thing, and that's where I think
people are swayed if it impacts them directly, and that's why you have certain little pockets of activism around this issue from people who
49%. 49% compared to 38. I think it's a lot bigger than people think it is, and the only reason that we don't think it's bigger is because there's literally like 12 anti-fracking legislators. That are like very much like, no, this is why it's bad because I've actually done the research, and I think that's one of the reasons. And I think the fact that it's up on our fucking roof of the State House just shows how much
I
sway
want you
it's had.
to track that down a little more.
I'm going to track it down
because I can't believe it's like the State House. Are you talking something painted on?
Yeah, you want me to pull it up?
Yeah, it's like, what? All of a sudden they called Michelangelo back in to like.
I don't think it's that hard. I don't think it's that hard. I think it's just chiseled. Like, I'll pull it up.
Okay. Because I would think those. Do you know I have never been in the State House here?
How dare you?
It's outrageously ornate from the pictures.
Okay, so this is from it's from
oh, it's so ornate. What do they think? It's a Palace of Versailles or something?
Right. No, I think that's good though, because we should have beautiful things that are owned by the public. So then Liberty, right? Here's one of them, Liberty. Justice, that's a good one too, right? Natural gas.
Oh, I see. So no, it's
like a little plaque.
It's a plaque.
Right.
Amidst all this rococo, faldy-roll,
Right.
gold-plated,
Oh, we wanna show
God
it.
knows what. So yeah, so they can't see.
They can't see it.
So they do. So right. So what? It's there with liberty.
Justice
And natural gas.
Oh, that is like, that should be Pennsylvania's new motto.
So yeah, up on the rotunda, there's all this rococo stuff and little plaque that says freedom, and the next one, and then natural
gas. And I'm sure like coal and some other things, but like some legacy industries I understand because they were.
Well, why don't they have like Hershey Kisses?
Yeah, totally. Why not?
I
Snack
know.
food.
Yeah.
That's a huge industry in Pennsylvania. It's huge. It's actually huge. And like, agriculture is really big too. And I think they usually do. They usually have like dairy and stuff like that. But, yeah, it's just something that I just.
Okay, well, I want you to calm down because you need all your resources to fight the virus that you are carrying.
Oh, can I squeeze in a quick plug for
Real
our?
quick, 'cause we're out of
Yep.
time.
We just have our Black Media panel that's coming up soon, and it's on the cover of our issue this week. So if you want to learn about, we're hosting this panel with Public Source and a bunch of other people, and it's going to be with all Black journalists and Black reporters.
The panel will be seen where?
It's at an event. I don't know. I'm doing a really bad job plugging it.
Yes, you are.
But if you pick up a city paper, there's tons of info in there. And it's a really cool thing because, Black journalism is just something we have not done a good job in Pittsburgh, and we got to do a better job. So let's do it.
Let's do it.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Just remember freedom, justice, and natural gas.
Oh, we should have a fart noise right there.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.